The conservative part?
Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have the prayer and the pledge by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gosselin.
We'll please all bow our heads for the Lord's Prayer. In the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gosselin.
Present.
Councilmember Brooke Marcotte. Here. Councilmember Marlon Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember David Broussard. Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter.
Here.
Councilmember Dee Dee Johnson-Reed. Here. Councilmember Dan Darrell.
Here.
Our first item is public comment. At this time, I ask you to put your phones on silent or vibrate. Do we have any cards? Nope. We'll be moving right along to item 2A.
Acceptance of the minutes, regular meeting of August 20th, 2024, which will be published on September 7th, 2024.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gosselin and Councilman Marlon Lewis. Is there any discussion of our regular meeting of August the 20th? Hearing, seeing none. Please vote your machines. Thank you very much. Item 3A.
Ordinance number 2024-23, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to negotiate and execute an agreement by and between the City of New Iberia and Evangeline Little League related to the hosting of their sports seasons at the New Iberia Pepperplex.
I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion.
Councilwoman Dee Dee Johnson-Reed and Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Anyone from the audience to comment on this item? Hearing, seeing none. I need a motion to close.
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gosselin and Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Now we move to the main motion, so I need a motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte and Councilman Marlon Lewis, and this is the $17.50 per child. It's in your packet. We had agreed to this a good while back, and so now this item and the next one, we're just wrapping this up so that we can sign some contracts. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, Mayor, just a
Yes, sir.
friendly reminder or refresher, $17.50, we paying $17.50?
No, they
What's
pay
the
$17.50,
$17.50?
sir.
Okay.
Yep, they pay $17.50.
The
That is-
kids
That's
pay-
the charge.
That's the charge?
Yes, that's the
The league.
charge for the league to use the fields and use everything. Because it comes with, you know, we're marking the fields, we're doing some things. It's all kind of laid out, but, so they pay, the league pays it for kids. Be the same thing for the soccer league, which is the next item.
Okay.
And we'd agreed on that a while back, we just cleaned up our paperwork.
So that fee is paid directly to the city?
Yes.
$17.50.
Yes.
And then above and beyond that, do they charge any additional fees? The league does, or?
I mean, the league, that's their business. The league probably
Okay.
has some other, I mean, they have
That's why I
expenses.
asked
They
that.
Now, I'm asking, you know,
They provide uniforms, they provide, you
Okay.
know, they do a lot of
so
stuff.
that's just so
So all that we get is the $17.50.
So the $17.50 is the league fee due to the city of New Iberia for
Yes.
the use of the facility, let's say use, or maintenance of facility, whatever you wanna call
Yeah,
it.
correct.
Okay,
That's why I asked the question. I was
Okay.
trying to figure out what it was for.
all right, so, and both leagues have agreed to all the agreements that we've discussed?
Oh, yeah, we had a couple of meetings, and I've talked to them, and everybody's good.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And since I know I won't be here, next council, group of council people, I just want to remind everybody that, we talked about making sure that this facility is available to all of our kids, not just our middle class and rich kids, but also the poor kids, is that they have an opportunity to play at this facility. So I'm gonna ask that the public and the new council people make sure that happens next time around. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other comments, questions?
Comment,
Yes, ma'am.
are we still gonna provide some transportation?
We haven't yet, but that is something that I still would like to see us do. I got to figure the mechanics of that. We have one van that we have, well, one van's giving trouble. We have two vans for the PD. So my plan was to take the one that we're not utilizing and use it. So I got to figure that out. The chief and I actually had a discussion about that about 2-3 weeks ago. And I asked him, the other van hasn't been started in forever. And so I was like, well, give me that one. So we're going to figure something out. What? I don't know. And it's new budget, so if a van pops up, y'all gonna know why. Because we can't get the other one running.
Okay, we just want to make sure the
Sure,
kids
sure.
have an opportunity.
And see if y'all, see if the city can apply for one of those green energy grants where we can get an electric bus, like they have in Baton Rouge.
Electric bus.
Yeah, in Baton Rouge, remember for LMA convention, they used those they kind of rolled them out for us.
Oh, yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, I brought that to the council before.
Yeah.
You know, you know, it was,
We're gonna charge that.
yeah, the federal government was supplying grants to introduce electric, you know, transportation to communities.
I'll look
Might
at it.
even give us a charging station.
I was going to say,
never know.
we need a charging station.
Yeah, we need them on Main Street.
Yeah, we waiting on, that one's,
Houlihan Plaza.
that one's held up with technical whole nother subject, but that one I'm going back and forth on, and we're trying to get that one hooked up.
Okay, but we just want to make sure, since most of us aren't going to be on the council next year, just want to make sure that everybody's aware that we do have a plan to include all the children in the city of New Iberia, not just kids whose parents can afford to get them there, but the kids who actually don't have transportation. We want to make sure that they have an opportunity to play on those really nice fields, because guess what? All of our tax dollars are paying for it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Then I'd ask you please vote your machines. Thank you. Excited. This is good, and you know, I say it for the 100th time. We're waiting on 2.5 million from the state. As soon as we get it, we will finish the Pepperplex. We do have some more things to do. We've been waiting for a few months, but we're, you know, staying on it. But as soon as we can get that, we are ready to finish that puppy up. Madam Clerk, 3D.
Ordinance number 2024-24, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to negotiate and execute an agreement by and between the city of New Iberia and the Iberia Soccer Association related to the hosting of their sports seasons at the New Iberia Pepperplex.
I need a motion to open this public hearing.
Motion.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas and Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there anyone from the public to speak on this item? Hearing seen none, I need a motion to close.
Motion. Second.
Councilwoman D. Johnson Reed and Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Now, we move on to the main motion.
Motion.
Second?
Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte and Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Is there any discussion on this item? It's the same fee and basically the same contract, it's just that this is for soccer. Questions, comments? Kind of the same thing.
So
Yes,
I'm assuming if in the future, any other leagues want to use facility, it'd be the same agreement that we apply to them as well, i.e. football or something else, if they want to use the facility down the road. I'm just curious.
I don't ever want to exclude any other league, but I think that these two, that Evangeline Little League and Iberia Soccer, have been here forever.
Sure, yeah.
So they gotta come first.
Right.
In other words, if another league wants to come, because I've already thought of that. I mean,
Yeah.
they've been here for 15 years. So if another league wants to come, sure, I want them. We'll just have to work around the schedules of, you know,
Right.
kind of our anchor teams because they've been here forever.
And I totally agree. I totally agree. I know the
And
question.
something
gonna pop
different
up.
might come.
No,
you
that's
know?
what I'm saying.
Who-
I know
who
the question,
knows
the question
what?
gonna pop up, you know,
Yeah,
what rules, so. But yeah, these are our anchor, our core groups that establish this
Yeah, in other words,
facility.
I wouldn't want somebody else to come in and they want the same
No.
schedule as Van Little League or the same schedule as Iberia.
Right.
So we can't have that.
Right.
I mean, these people have been with us, and if you think of the sacrifice of the parents and how many years that thing ran off the back of nobody. If you
years.
think about it, it fell apart. They got some money, then Governor Gentle took their money away. That's a long time ago.
Long.
And I mean, those families have kept this thing running until we, you know, stepped in. But we gotta honor that. So yeah, other people could come. But we are gonna always remember to work around the people that
Sure.
got us here. Anybody else?
Are we gonna start renegotiating a new contract for next season soon?
Well, this is kinda it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with this, you
I
know.
was gonna say the same.
I don't know that every year we're gonna, you know, we're just getting started. We haven't, it's not our fault, but we have 2.5 million more to spend that I thought we'd have been, I know I'm optimistic, but I thought we'd have been well underway or done. So I'm not going up on anybody when we have a whole bunch more work to do.
Okay,
I can't say it wouldn't ever, you know, be renegotiated, but I think that this is good for a while anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
We're not trying to hurt anybody.
all right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we don't have any field designated for football.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
We have 100 and something acres out there, so
Yes.
I'm not saying, you know, never, you know. Go ask Judge Judge Hamilton and I talk about having football all the time. So maybe one day. Yes.
And so I just want to make sure that the community understands that even though there's like a charge for using the fields and everything, they can also practice at the other parks for free, correct?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because a lot of them, I mean, we had a lot of rumblings the last time about having to pay to use the fields at the Pepperplex. But the fact is that those are not the only fields. If they need to practice somewhere, they could also practice in the other parks, and there's no charge.
yeah.
So just
I
want
mean,
people
we
to be
have
aware
a
of that.
school and another group that rents the Acadian Ballpark, and they
Right.
utilize that. We have fields at Bank. We have a really nice field in the West End. They redid the whole field. So, yeah, there's other opportunities, you know, while the leagues are playing there's other places they can go.
Right. Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, man, I just want
Yes,
to say something, shed some light on something that
Sure.
I think I need to, for me, and it's coming from my heart. I played sports, middle school, little high school. But we got to remember, too, we are trying to build facilities for sports, but we also have to remember that sports is a choice. It's a choice. So if you choose to bring your child out there to play sports, we want to be able to accommodate them. You know,
Sure.
But there are some other things that are much more important in sports. That's kind of personal to me because, you know, running a barber shop, having kids in and out my shop, and first question we ask the kid, you play sports? And I can't tell you how many times a kid has been embarrassed because he didn't play sports. You know, so I just want to make sure that there's more than just sports to build our kids back up to where we need them to be.
Good point.
So I just want to make that coming from me. It's not up for debate. That's me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Anybody else? Then I'd ask you to vote your machines. Thank you all very much. And as you know, this city invests in a whole lot of other programs.
Yeah.
Yes.
From community groups to Boys and Girls Club. We got some people out here that we're working with on a lot of different things. So you're right. We have to nurture the kids from every aspect. And I think this council has done a good job of spreading the money around and trying to do exactly that, you know.
This is one part.
But, you know, sports is one part, but you're
That's
right.
it.
We need to kind of hit everything. Kept me out of trouble, but that's a whole nother story. 4A, Madam Clerk.
Resolution number 24-107, a resolution changing the regular meeting date of November 5th, 2024 to November 6th, 2024, due to the declaration of November 5th as a legal state holiday in Louisiana.
It's Election Day. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, a second by Councilman Marlon Lewis. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you. Madam Clerk, item 5A.
A discussion related to political signs in the city of New Iberia. Ricky Gonsalas.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas,
I have the floor.
you have the floor.
All right, so I brought this issue up currently because obviously it's in the public's eye right now, the political signs in our community. This council has been doing a very good job in the past, from demolition of blighted property, long grass ordinances, even going to the point where we're looking to incorporate groups to pick up trash in areas to keep our city clean and appealing. And that's all part of quality of life and bringing and selling your community. But if you look around our community right now, you see a bunch of political signs, and I think sometimes you gotta look inside yourself and do your own housekeeping, do due diligence. And not all of us are guilty up here, but most of us are guilty, and we put political signs out, and, you know, we do it as a competition with your opponent, or whatever reason you need to be. And I think that it's becoming an issue. I'm getting calls and getting issues of a sore eye in the public, and that maybe it's just a bit too much. I'm fully aware that this council didn't allow it several years back, but when I do my research and I look at other communities are much, much more appealing the way they handle their political agendas from the signs ordinance. I'm fully aware of the First Amendment rights and the freedom of speech. I am not up here to say that we need to eliminate them. That's not what I'm here for. What I think is that we can draft some type of resolution that could put a time limit on the amount of days you can put your signs out and a time limit to pick them up after. I think far too often, and you can go after this election, you'll see political signs stay up there for 6, 8 months, end up in our drainage ditches. City government people have to pick them up. Sometimes after an opponent loses, they don't care. They don't pick up their signs. So I think that we need to do our due diligence as a city council. And if we're going to pass resolutions to try to keep our city appealing, maybe it's time to look at ourselves and maybe do a little bit and I'm not saying very stringent, but something to put in order, and in my opinion, is qualifying day and 14 days after election, you can put signs out. Gives everybody a fair starting date and gives everybody ample enough time after that election to clean up what they have put out in the community that created, whatever you want to call it, advertisement for you as a political candidate. But after that election, it becomes something of a problem for the city employees picking up, as well as constituents. They want it cleaned up. So I think that just drive around and see the amount of signs. I'm not saying limit the number of signs to a candidate. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying we can start with some ground rules of qualifying day and a certain number of days after the cleanup. And I'm open for opinion from the council members, but I sure would like to see a resolution adopted in the near future that we can govern this policy.
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I had my hand up first. Go
Oh, I
ahead.
didn't.
I'm just
She said, ma'am, I looked at her, I'm sorry.
This came before the council way back in 2016 when I was thinking about running. Pretty much started real early and all. The city council person for District 3 brought it to the attention of the council, and at the time it was Mr. Robert Swear. And I talked against it. I gave, the court ruling, the Supreme Court ruling on trying to limit political speech, First Amendment rights and all, because if you're new to the game, you need to get your name out there early. People need to start recognizing your name if you've never run for political office before. Are we gonna, if we just do it for our local elections, that's not fair, because we also have national and state elections, and for national elections, those signs have been out for a long time. So if you're gonna limit one type of sign, the law says you have to limit all signs, including those where you have some kind of construction going on and you have the little sign that say air conditioning done by Dahl, Dahl AC. You'd have to limit all of those. Otherwise, it's gonna be ruled unconstitutional. And I don't think that the city has money to put up to hire lawyers to defend an ordinance that we should not have to begin with. Now, we didn't have enough money to put up to say dispute CLECO's increase in our rates. Why would we want to do this with political signs? That makes no sense to me at all. If somebody wants to put a sign out today and they're not running for office for the next 4 years in their yard, that's their business. That's their private property, and they paid for the sign. If somebody else next door to them say, well, I want a sign like that too, that's their business, that's their property. So we cannot limit that. So I don't know why we're trying to go down this road again when it was squashed way back in 2016. And if we go to court, we will lose about if we don't do it with all signs at a time.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you have it
So, I want to, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you say you got calls about this, how many calls are we talking?
Over 10 calls. And
Okay.
just to rephrase what Ms. Lebanon said, I made myself clear. It's not eliminating time frame.
Okay.
We're not
okay.
eliminating.
But that's not, I mean, you can respond to her in a minute.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess my thing is that you
Sure.
said you got over 10. Did anybody else on the council get calls from their district saying that there's too many signs? You got some? Okay. How many calls did you get?
Well, I didn't count them, I don't know. But
More than 10?
I was part of that when Ms. Deidre talked about it. I'll speak later, but yeah, I did.
You got more than 10?
I really don't know. I would say yes.
You got more than 10?
I would say so.
Okay, and did you guys get any? Okay.
Get in it.
I guess here's what I want us to think about. This may be an issue for some people, but that percentage of people is so minute that we want to be very careful about making laws, because a very small, minute number of people in our city don't like something. So we just need to be careful. Now, if all of us are sitting here saying people calling me constantly about all these signs everywhere, that would be one thing. But I just caution us of changing laws or enacting laws when there's a very small number of people that are unhappy. Because we know one thing about being on this council is that you can't please everybody. And so you're always gonna have some people upset about something. So let's just be careful about taking this step because it has implications to take this thing and it could go and spin out and have consequences that we didn't think of. So let's just be careful about, I know we're just having a discussion right now, but let's be careful about what we do and why we do it because, you know, we may not be here, but in the future, this could cause a major problem for the mayor in the future. So that's just my thoughts.
Thank you. I think Councilman Lewis had his hand up, and then I'll call on you. I knew everybody wanted to talk. Yes, sir.
Well, I didn't get any calls about it. I didn't think it was an issue. The biggest issue is, Ms. Ledbetter touched it, statewide elections. Them people don't come and pick up their sign. They put them out early and they don't never come back and pick them up, ever. Not just statewide, but like Public Service Commissioner, for example. That's a statewide, but they cover a district, District 4, Region 4 we in. They don't never come, you know, the big ones, they go, you know, they might pick them up, but them yard signs, they don't, you know, it's like, to me, it's like politics. It's like, you know, a way to control the game, to me. Cause did that pass, Dan, in 2016?
Nope.
It didn't pass, right?
No,
No.
it did, no.
It wasn't good then, it ain't gonna be good now, but I remember who brought it up, and I feel like I remember why they brought it up. But again, it's not no attacks against nobody. You know, Mr. Broussard, if he was here, he'll tell you, Mr. Broussard put up 1,000 signs, wooden signs, 6 months before the election. I mean, you know, and he'll tell you, that's what he did. You know, so to me, it's.
But it was Mr. Swear that did it.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, okay.
Let me leave that alone. Mr. Swim, District 3, and David Broussard, District 3, right?
Yep.
Okay, I mean,
We can all figure that one out.
Enough said.
I mean, so it's to each, it's your prerogative. And Ms. Ledbetter made a good point. If I put big signs up in all my people property, if I come from a big family and I got family property all over town, and my people want to put political signs in their property for 2 years, you gonna tell them they can't put it? You're gonna tell them they can't do that? So I'm saying is, you know, is hand in, hand out. I mean, again, people got to promote themselves to run. The biggest thing is pick your signs up. That's the biggest thing. I saw a campaign, and I'm gonna call it Larry Richard. When Larry ran for parish president, Larry started campaigning 2 years before the election. Now I don't know when he put his signs out, and he ended up winning. He was aggressive with marketing and advertising. He did a good job. I admire it. Mr. Broussard, aggressive with advertising and marketing. Getting there, getting to that seat, that's what you got to do. So to take that privilege away from someone, to me, that's like politics. Like, you know, no, it gives too many people a chance to beat me. I mean, if you got the money for the signs and to put them out there, because, look, people pick up signs, they throw them away. Somebody say, man, they picked up your signs, man. Somebody throwing away your sign. Well, guess what? I bought 500. Thank you for picking up that one. Wherever you brought it, that's another vote you brought it to. You know, you just got to know what you're into. You know, but again, keeping them in the right of way. I see signs on the right of way. They ain't supposed to be on the public right of way. Am I correct?
Oh,
Yeah.
we are moving them constantly or asking people
I
to
see
move.
people running right now that got signs in the public right of way that's actually serving right now. You know, I just say, man, we got to make sure when we start talking about, you know, stuff like that, I'm gonna just put it like that. We got to make sure we really, really, really doing everything that we should be doing to be right when we running for those seats. Like, I think we all do. At the end of the day, I think we all do what we got to do to win. Some people don't have to do as much, and some people have to do a lot. That's my take on it. So to govern that is kind of like overreaching. I know we always talk about big government and overreaching. That's overreaching to me. That's it.
Thank you.
Pick up your signs, clean up your signs, and don't block public view, and don't put them in the right of way.
Jeff.
Me.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think
this,
Dan had his hand up, but
Yeah.
I call it Jeff. I'm sorry.
yeah, this has been a topic every election time, as long as I can remember. And we talk about the fact there shouldn't be signs in public rights of way. There shouldn't be signs close to polling places because there's a buffer zone around polling places. There shouldn't be signs on utility poles. And there shouldn't be signs on people's property if you don't have permission from the landowner. But otherwise, we have not regulated signs uniformly. We don't have a sign ordinance. We drafted one years ago and the council didn't like it because it really was tight. I think if you're gonna regulate political signs, you need to regulate them like everything else. A lot of the signs that I see when I drive around town, it might be go big red, it might be niche mattress sale, it might be slow down, it's contractor signs. You got signs all over the place. We got some right there we're gonna ask people to take and put out. We're not gonna put a limit on the time that they're gonna have them out there. So I think it's a problem I'm not saying it's not a problem, I'm not saying it's not an eyesore. It's really difficult to solve. And every 4 years we talk about how to do this. We kind of struggle with it, but cleaning them up off the public rights of way, that's a big thing. Getting them out of the sight triangles at streets, that's a big thing. If you don't like people's signs, don't vote for them, Maybe that'll give some people some incentive not to do that. But we can look at what some of the other people have done. Some of these things are not challenged, but if they were, they'd be a problem. Because you can regulate, if we're gonna rent, for example, if we're gonna rent meeting space to the public at parks, we can't regulate what they talk about. So we can't regulate content if we open that forum up. And if we're gonna let people do signs, then, I don't think we can do political signs differently from others. And I don't think we're ready to tackle the others because they're all over the place.
Right.
Now, if we wanna do a sign ordinance, to beautify the town, that's a big job, but we could do it. But if the council wants to try to do this, we can try to figure out, how to do it. But I think it's going to be difficult. And it's an issue we have come up every 4 years. And these things, they pop up and, yeah, there's some candidates out there still got their stuff out, for a long time ago. Larry Richard's got a sign on the corner of Center Street and Pershing. I saw it today on front of the Longs building right
Yeah.
there. It's right up on, his parish
Only
president. It's
because
still there.
that property only wanted it there,
Well, okay.
for real.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna disagree with her, but, yeah, but if people, if that's okay with the person who owns the land, it's okay. If it's not okay with the person who owns the land, it shouldn't be there.
Correct.
And then enforcement.
So, we could try to do that. I know in the past, we've had public works crews and inspection people out there picking up signs, and I don't know what we did with them. Did we just pile them up at the barn or something?
I'll tell you in a minute.
Yeah, because I remember in the past, we've made announcements at the meetings, candidates, if you're missing some signs, it's because they weren't where they're supposed to be. So come get them at the barn, or out of the dumpster, or where we put them. But anyway, so we can try to do it. Legally, it's gonna be difficult to do it, and I think a lot of these places have these beautification kind of things that haven't really been challenged. But,
Yep.
yeah, I don't think we wanna go down that path unless we're willing to, look at other signs too. And say, this is about beautification, it's not about regulating what kind of, speech we're gonna have.
Thank you. Dan, you had your hand up?
Yep. Well, the first thing about this is a discussion, and that's why we talk.
That's what we do.
Yeah,
That's
I
what we're good at.
represent, I represent one part of town, we all represent, and when the people call you, you bring it up and you discuss it. I mean, and when we talked about it in 2016, whatever, it was never about the signs on the billboards, it was never talking about advertisement, it was talking about yard signs. 'Cause that's the ones that blow away and get in the sewer. That's the one that causes the problem when the wind blowing, it breaks down. And, Bruce or Youngsville, we always say, man, they got this, they got this. They did it to make the town look cleaner and not have these signs. It wasn't about prejudice or anything, it was about cleaning up their town. And we talked about making it, when you register your name, you put your sign out. So many days after you take it out. We went through this, my term here, probably 4 times, So that's where it came from. But, you have to do 2 things, have an ordinance for it, you have to have a compliance officer doing it, you have to have a fine to do it. I agree with that, and I agree with it. But how you police it is one thing, and I don't have no problem with being throughout our city, even state elections. Because like you said, the people with the money might put these signs up 2 years in advance. Dude, that gets old.
Yeah.
And, you know, people just don't like it. So when they ask you, hey, man, why y'all let them do this? Well, you can. It's America. But if we have a problem with it, we'll bring it up and discuss it. That's what it's about, you know. And I know I put up a lot of signs when I run. And the yard sign, when we talk about the air conditioner sign, there's a state law when you're a plumber and that, you have to put your sign. And we put one to let the inspection department know, hey, I'm doing this job, I'm licensed, you can come check me.
Okay.
That was what to do about the contractors, let the city know that you're doing the job and you're not licensed and you're trying to get underneath the system. That's what those signs are about, to let the local people know you're doing the job there, you know. And so, you know, I'm with Jeff, and every time it came up, I supported it and always failed. But people do call, and some people just don't care. Some people do. Right now, there's a lot of signs out there on the right-of-ways, you know. What do you do? Do you take the sign out? Do you call the people? And then what are they gonna do about it? I don't know. What's the answer of the problem? But as Jeff mentioned, it's been across since I've been here at least 4 times, you know. And I understand about the rights of the people, but then some people want your town to look good, look clean. So, you know, what you do, we won't be like Broussard, but we don't want to be like Broussard. Be like Youngville. We don't want to be like Youngville. So you're like, you just don't know what to do, you know. So, but
I'm gonna let everybody.
that's why we have a discussion on it, you know, because it's about
That's why we have
what
it.
you feel. And if people wouldn't be calling me, I wouldn't even be talking about it. But why they call me, I don't know. I mean, there's other things they call me about too. We don't want to bring that up, but you know.
That's funny.
But thank you.
Thank you. Brooke? Councilwoman.
Yeah, no, that's
more
good. I appreciate you guys bringing it up because you do get the phone calls about it. I didn't, I told you that when we spoke earlier. But I do personally see it being a problem after the election, with the signs staying up for so long after. I may or may not have a family member that still has signs up from a couple years ago. That's a problem, you know, so, and those are the things I believe that would get into the drains, because we get those storms that come through. But do we have a way of policing it? Do we have the manpower? You know, that becomes a question as well. But I can definitely understand having an issue with them staying out so late after the election. So if there's a way to actually police it feasibly, you know, okay, but if not, what do we do? You know, just kind of let things go? Because then it becomes a mess at one point, you know. So that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Okay. Round 2, I guess. Yes, ma'am.
So, I know that we've talked about how sometimes people put those things out 2 years ahead of time, but that's a very small number of candidates that do that. That's not the majority of candidates. You don't see everybody's signs out 2 years ahead of time. So the problem of 2 years, you know, prior to the election is not a major issue, because it's just not every candidate. Not everyone has made up their mind 2 years ahead of time. So, again, I think if people are concerned about the signs, if they're blocking people's, you know, their vision, they can't turn because the sign is blocking their view. I mean, that's the kind of things you call and you report. This isn't an all year, every year kind of thing. And to me, when it's all said and done, if they really want to clean up the city, let's go clean up all that garbage that's around the city. That's where they should be. I mean, I think more people would be complaining about all the garbage that's being thrown out the cars and all over the city than signs, because this city right now is filthy. It's filthy. If you ride around, I don't care what part of town you're in, there's trash everywhere. Let's complain about that and leave these little political signs as just every few years. That's not a big issue. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Doyle, now you know that when you do a job, you go and get a permit, so the city knows who is doing that particular job. You don't need a sign out front to say you're doing it, because the city already knows when you got your permit to do a job for a particular location.
It's a state thing.
So my husband been a contractor for a long time too, and he never had a sign out that said he was doing the job.
Electricians don't need it.
Well, I'm just saying, so not every contractor needs a sign out. But getting back to the main thrust of it, if we do some kind of ordinance or resolution or something like that, and it's challenged, we're gonna lose money trying to uphold it, because you will lose. Because, you know, of course, it's First Amendment rights. And those people that are complaining about the signs, is the sign in their yard? You know, people, you give permission from people to have the signs in their yard. They agree. They put them there. Sometimes they have a whole lot of them. Some people like those. Now, if you're not one that likes political signs or any kind of signs in your yard, well, that's on you, you know? That's on you. But you get permission to put signs in people's yard. So they want them there. So now you're talking about 10 people that said they didn't like them. Well, don't put one in your yard, you know? That's all I can say about that. I don't think the city needs to be spending money on something that's frivolous like this when they had other issues that we could be spending that money on, and we know we're gonna lose.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
So, you know, this issue is really taken out of context, because the city will not be spending any money unless it is sent to court over an issue that is not a violation of freedom of speech, because we're just putting a quarantine of days on it. We're not eliminating freedom of speech. I read all the freedom of speech. Can it be challenged? Anything can be challenged. So I'm not saying it won't, but Broussard has done it, Youngsville has done it, none of them has been challenged, just like Jeff said. So, you know, if we're looking at ourselves, and Dee Dee made a great comment, there is trash. I'm getting calls about the trash by the water plant, by the Honey Hush Lounge, 3 times a week. I mean, blowing all over. So there is trash. But
It's
some things,
everywhere.
you know, some things we can control, some things we can't. Should there be a fine for trash in the city? Absolutely. You know, same thing with signs. I'm saying, from a political aspect, if we all putting signs out and we all govern, rules are made to be followed, and rules should be followed. You can't tell me that creating an ordinance is gonna affect the politicians whether he can win or not. It's not gonna, in my opinion, he can't. Everybody starts off at the same time, at the gate, qualifying day. Everybody starts off, everybody's equal on a level playing field. Put your name out there. We make rules and regulations to establish new properties, historic district, planning and zoning. We make rules to govern what they can build or what they can put on their property. We're just saying, hey, everybody can start signs out at a certain date and gotta be picked up by a certain date. That's very simple, nothing complicated about it. And you know, a lot of people said here tonight, you know, well, it's been this way, it's been that way. You're an elected official. You gotta be willing to change with the times and change to promote your community in a better way. We want a cleaner community. That's not the only thing we need to address. This is just part of it. There's a lot of other things, and we've been addressing them. From, well, like I said, blighted properties, demolitions, all these other things. We've addressing a cleaner community, and this is just part I think that we can do as our part to try to clean our community up. I think we ought to try to establish some type of ordinance and see what this council could come with, moving this issue forward.
Yes.
I just comment on Youngsville and Broussard. I pass there all the time. They ain't great with their signs either.
It's perfect. Not perfect.
I don't see that. What is the ordinance? I mean, I remember passing through Youngsville, Broussard, and saying, man, that person still got their sign up? I remember saying that,
Broussard, 60 days, 14 days to clean up.
but they don't enforce it.
I didn't say enforce it, but.
Right.
That's it.
So you can't, we talk about that all the time. Coach, Dan,
Hey.
we talk about ordinances we can't enforce all the time,
That's right.
Yeah.
right? And that's really the biggest thing.
But
Can we
no,
enforce that?
no, and you're correct. But just to reenter, but I mean, if you do have a set of ground rules established, if you have any moral conscience, you're gonna go pick up, and you know they got rules. Now there's some people that won't. I get
I
it.
think the biggest thing is picking up after.
Yeah.
But no, you know, hey, somebody got no
Especially if you lose.
Yeah. I was,
That's funny.
And one more comment. I mean,
Yes, sir.
So from a cost standpoint, from a city, if we do not put any rules or regulations in whatsoever, absolutely gonna cost the city to pick up all the signs people don't pick up, no doubt. But if we put a rule in of certain amount of days and picking them days, and we do get 50% of them picked up, that's 50% of the cost the city doesn't have to pick up. Or so if we put some parameters on what we can and can't do, I think that it is ultimately is going to affect our community in the long run. Will it be perfect? Absolutely not. But, as elected officials, I think we need to do our due diligence and have the wherewithal to at least establish something, some guidance, to be a fair competition and keep our city clean. Because look, when you try to promote your city from an economic standpoint, from a residential standpoint, they come and look at the cleanliness of your city. And if we can just do little bits and pieces to make that a better appealing, then we win. We win all the way around. For our constituents, for our taxpayers, for our businesses. We win. I'm finished.
Everybody done? Oh, yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, I get what the mayor pro tem is saying. However, I'm not sure people who come and do economic development care about our political signs. I just don't think they care about that. They care about the trash all over the city that they see, all this stuff just everywhere. That's probably more important to them than political signs, because they know that that's not something that's going to stay up year round. So it's like, again, I caution us to make rules just to be making rules, because if you can't enforce them, or if you're making rules just for a small number of people because they're upset about that, then are we really doing ourselves any justice? Because all of us up here need to be able to put up signs. And if you're a newcomer to the community and people don't really know you, and you need to get your name out early so that people can learn about you, if we put an ordinance saying you only have from qualifying day to election day, that's a very short period of time. That's unfair.
Very.
Unfair. So I just caution us, let's not make rules that we're going to regret making just because a very small number of people don't like seeing political signs. Close your eyes.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a lot more important things that we need to address with ordinances and resolutions for our city rather than, political season signs. Like you said, blighted property. We're working on something right now for that. So we have a whole lot more important things than political signs, which I say if it's challenged, we're gonna lose. So why put it there? Now cleanup is something different, but our whole city needs to clean up too. You don't see that many. You see a few signs out, you really do, but you see garbage out all the time. And we need to do something about that. Now, that we need to enforce something like that, because we do have, pull your trash cans in and all of that. And what do? Well, we send them a letter, and that's pretty much it. Trash cans just on the road every day, all day. Until the next time, they just put it in the can and they leave it there. So I'm just saying that, this is not as important as a lot of other things that we need to do for our city to make it a better place to live.
Thank you. Everybody had their say? Everybody's done? Okay, it's my turn. I'll be really quick. All right? I love serving with David Broussard. He was here when I was Mayor Pro Tem, and he's been here for 2 terms. David Broussard's signs rotted. They had been out so long because I gave him wood from my construction company to replace them. Okay? I know he's not here tonight, but I like to pick on David. But that's a true story. So, when I was the Pro Tem, my first term, we addressed this issue. It didn't pass. It failed, just like it's come up every 4 years. My thing, I did put it in the packet, The one thing that I liked, I looked at, the only community I found that had something to pick them up after was Abbeville. And Abbeville said, once the election's over, you have so many days to pick them up. They didn't worry about how soon you put them out. Just once the election was over, you picked them up. That might be some kind of compromise. Now, if they at your house or they screwed on your building because you want Larry on your building on Center Street, which, by the way, Larry was on that building in the last election when he ran the time before. He's been on that building for probably the whole time he's been the parish president. That's that person's choice.
Maybe the window's broken.
Maybe the window's broken, but that's that person's choice, So it's a weird thing. I understand we want to clean our community up, okay? I do not like to compare myself to Broussard and Youngsville. We are our own entity. We are New Iberia. We are uniquely different. We are certainly, in many, many ways, very different from those communities. So let them be what they are, because we're going to be what we are. So I don't know that you have a cookie-cutter way to do this. I would be interested in saying after the election's over, you got to pick them up. That kind of appeals to me. Unless it's on private property, screwed on a building, then Larry's sign gets to stay. or whoever's. So,
Blake been on Center Street.
yeah, you got a bunch of them like that.
Forever.
Blake's still on Center Street.
People, that's their right. I could put a sign up that says I endorse and support somebody, and it could stay up for the next 10 years. That's a creative sign. So somebody might leave one of those up for eternity, okay? You just don't know, because never seen that done. So with that, I realize that these discussions are what make us good. And I know people in the audience like, okay, round two. Okay, so-and-so is going to say something again. Oh, look, their hands back up. This is game day. This is the time that we come here. You're elected. The people who are running, you get here. You bust your butt to get here, whatever it takes. To get here for these 2 meetings a month, to show what you got, show who you're representing, and show what you're doing. This is your shot. This is our business meeting. So the people that sometimes call me after, can't you cut that down? Why don't you stop discussion? Did you have to put that on the agenda? I've never turned down anything on an agenda, because this is our business meeting. Other mayors have. The charter's actually written it. I could just say, no, we're not discussing that. I'm not going to do that. You don't censor your team, number one. And number two, I appreciate it. I'll go around this thing all night, because this is what makes us unique. I don't see other communities have these kind of discussions without clubbing each other. There's a difference between debate and disrespect. What we never have here is disrespect. So I thank all of you, every one of you for that. So I'm on my second council, got a third to go. Can't wait to see who gets here. We're going to keep this same thing going. So get ready to talk. Whoever, I hate to see my people leave, but whoever comes, get ready to talk, because this is the power of what we do. So regardless of what we decide on this or any other issue, thank you for it. We'll just see where it goes. It was an interesting discussion, and now we're moving on. Madam Clerk.
Matt Galata to discuss dilapidated and dangerous condition of properties at the following locations.
Hey, man, why don't you do something about the signs? No, I'm sorry. I'm done.
Set in the discussion.
700 San Jacinto Circle, 722 Hopkins Street, 840 Week Street, 519 Silver Street, 614 Lombard Street, and 812 Vicnair Street.
So what we have here is 6 houses, one in each district.
And if we get the pictures, there we go. San Jacinto is going to be the first one from Ms. Brooks' district. This has been up for a while, and it is a pretty bad eyesore. That community doesn't have a whole lot, but this one's one of the worst ones.
Yeah, that's on a corner lot too. You can see it from all angles, the destruction.
Where you coming from?
And I don't know that anybody has messed with it for a while. Probably 2 years ago, we got complaints about the windows being busted out, and it looks like someone put some wood, but the wood's not all the way around. It's just in bad shape, and it's time for either the owner to step up and fix it, or for us to take care of it for them.
This one is 722 Hopkins. This is the side of it, the right side of it. There's the rear, but this one's been an eyesore for enough time. It needs to happen. So there's the front.
3 years.
Has it been 3?
Oh, at least, at least 2 years, but
That's that last beat.
no,
No.
that one is gone.
The last cleanup we did, you remember? We
Yep.
walked right by that house and we were talking about it.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah, that was a couple years
we
ago.
knocked the, just one on each side down with it.
And
So that one needs to go.
yeah, I wish we can do an emergency on that one, because I've been getting some serious calls on that one. And like I said, it been, like I said, 2 or 3 people, but they live there, they live around there, and they gotta see it. And then one of them has a business there. He got to bring people to his office to do business, and I'm with him 100%. He hates seeing it. I hate seeing it.
So, I'm sorry, are you talking about the owner of this house?
This no, the owner, that's another story, but.
Oh, okay.
Hopkins,
No,
another story.
okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you, because I'm like, okay, so why didn't you tear it down? But okay,
No.
it's not the owner that was complaining. Okay, yeah,
This person offered to tear it down. He wanted to tear it down,
yeah,
and I told him he couldn't do that.
okay.
He wanted to go tear it down.
He would go to jail.
Huh?
It'll get torn down.
to jail.
Next one is gonna be Weeks, the corner house on Dale and Weeks, 840 Weeks.
giant house.
Oh, my God.
Poor
that's-
bricklayer.
That's gonna be a big job.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
shame. It's a nice house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a nice
It
house.
was a
Yeah.
nice
Excuse
house.
me, on that one and the one on Julia, if you can give me some information, I do have somebody interested to talk to the property owner that they would want to tear them down.
Okay.
Just give me that when you can.
Yeah, it's a shame.
To Julia Street, real quick. I know Jeff and Dan, y'all usually know the history. Who used to live in that big house on the corner
The
of Weeks?
bricklayer, what's his name?
I don't remember, no.
Oh, yeah, I know him well. I guess I don't know him well. I can't think of his
There
name.
was some nice houses. The one before that, the one
Yeah.
on Julia Street was the session
That one I
house.
know.
Giot?
Giot,
Huh?
Giot,
Yeah, bricklayer.
bricklayer.
Did a bunch of
Frank
stuff
Paul
in there.
Giot is
Frank
assessed
Giot,
with the
yeah.
ownership,
That
yeah.
whole Giat family did brickwork for
Yep.
a long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all saw how nice they did the old, I think it's the Sester family on the corner of Julia and Dale. The big one is just like that. They remodeled that one in the
Oh, yeah,
last
yeah,
five.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
did an awesome, same style home.
yeah,
Similar, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yep.
This one here is in Silver Street, 519. It's completely
Yeah.
falling apart. They had some people living in it, some vagrants, but even they can't stomach it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that owner's a foreigner.
Yeah. He came years ago and he was gonna fix it. I remember.
Well, yeah, this
That's a
fellow
trailer.
died in 16 or
trailer,
so.
yeah.
Right.
And then we on to Lombard, which
Yeah.
is the worst one of the batch.
Yes.
Yeah.
It no longer has a roof. It is inside the building.
Yep.
It's burned out, so it's got to go.
I mean, it was on the list before it burned, and then it burned. Yeah, so I'm glad to see it come down.
And the last one here is 812 Vicnair. So this one is it's deteriorating quick.
Terrible.
It's had some vagrants in and out,
Yep.
vandalizing it. So here's one of the pictures.
Yeah, that one's 10 years of tax sales,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
various owners.
Yeah.
So that's the new batch.
Yeah, and what we're trying to do is get back to our, we've been fortunate with the $500,000 worth of demo money from the state, and that's still in the process. Now we have $450,000 of our own ARPA money that we are asking for people who want something demoed. I'm doing the plug right now because we're not getting as many as we did the first time. So if you have a piece of property that you want demoed, if it meets our requirements, we'll do it for free with that money that we have from ARPA. We have allotted $450,000. But in addition to that, this is what we used to do. These are the demos that we would pick, each one from a district and get going. So although the $500,000 and the 450 are a little slower than we wanted, I thought those might have been underway, but the state is not fast. So in the meantime, Matt and I talked, and we're going to start kind of cranking up these demos again, and not overload the system, but that way we can make some effort
So,
because they've been sitting for a while.
just a quick question for you. At any point, have we contacted the people that are on the demolition list to say, okay, so we've done
Yes.
that?
Yes.
And we haven't gotten a bunch of, just to say, hey, listen, your house is on our demolition list, but we can actually demolish it for free if you just give us the okay.
We have
done-
some, but some people respond, some people don't even respond to that.
Yeah, because I mean.
And they got to
that's
sign, and
a
they have to
long
own
list.
it, and
Right.
there's some requirements, Our problem is, they're so generational in the titles and so mixed up of who owns it now that sometimes it's difficult and they can't meet the grant requirements. I'm not saying that we can't try that again, but we can,
Okay,
because we do have money left to spend.
So the next step is getting prices to demo those?
Start the process. We have to notify them. We have a long, lengthy process. This is just to say, these are the next ones coming,
So we didn't do the legal work yet?
No.
No, okay.
And let me,
be the next.
if I can, kind of on the same topic, if we have absentee owners, dead people, people who don't live here, people we can't find, we are required by law to appoint an attorney to represent them. And what they do is they run a little ad in the newspaper, they send something to the last known address, and that protects that person's rights, the absentee's rights. So we have to appoint an attorney. In the past, we had Lynn Derwan who did that for a while, then Joe Burke did that for a while. Right now, we don't have anybody doing that, and I've talked to a number of local attorneys out there about doing this work. It's clerical work, you don't have to come, usually not even to this meeting. You just send in, proof of what you've done, you follow the statutes. It's not difficult to do, the city will pay you. So if there are attorneys out there who are looking for work, hourly work, we got hourly work for them to do this. We'd like to have somebody, in New Iberia, in Iberia Parish. If we can't get somebody local, then we'll get somebody who's not local. But it's a necessary part of the process. We pay $175 an hour plus whatever advertising expenses they have. So we need to have an attorney who's willing to do the work. If you guys on the council know somebody, let us know. Attorneys are appointed often in court proceedings to represent deceased and absentee people, and that's, it's not an unusual thing to do. But that's the solution the law has for people who can't be found, who need to be protected. But we need somebody to do that job.
Jeff, do you think our attorney that's helping us with the ordinance would be interested in doing that work? I know he's from New Iberia, he's just not local right now.
He might. I could ask him.
Yeah,
I know he's taken on some other things lately.
okay.
Yeah. I like him. He'd be good if he'd
him
do
or
it.
his wife, they're both attorneys.
Yeah, he'd be good if he'd do it. And we'd like a local person if we could get somebody, somebody who lives and works here, but, that's fine. That's fine. But the process is we get the inspections, we do, legal work and all, and then this comes before the council and y'all vote to put these up at a hearing on a certain date. And we appoint the attorney to notify the absentees. And, I think I have another set that I've done the legal work on. I haven't done this one yet. It shouldn't take very long. But, that's kind of the process.
One more question.
Huh.
So if, let's say a homeowner dies, and the kids don't take the house and go in through succession to put it in their names, is that what you consider to be an absentee? Because like if you send a letter, that person's dead,
Yeah,
that's an absentee
yeah,
person.
yeah. If you have, and we have a lot of those.
Yeah.
We have a person who has died, the family has not settled the estate because it may not be worth it.
Right,
So we don't know, was there a will, who are the kids, we don't know.
Right.
So if you have that situation, then we appoint an attorney to represent the estate of so-and-so, and we do
Okay.
that a lot. And then they'll say, well, if we know who some of the kids are, we'll go send them a letter, whatever. Usually when I do the legal work, I run the obituaries, local obituaries and the conveyance records and all that, and I say, this is what we know about who this might be.
okay,
I mean, we really go over, we bend over backwards to protect the rights of these people before we knock their stuff down.
okay.
But then we knock their stuff
Most
down.
drastic thing we can do.
Yeah, but then we knock their stuff down, so.
And that's one of the reasons why we have this second batch with the ones like 722 Hawkins or 614 Lombard. It was a little more difficult on the homework of figuring out who,
Who owns it?
right. And so the first batch, we were able to streamline it a little faster, so.
Yeah, 812 Vigner's got 16 tax sales.
So where are we with the first batch?
We need to set a hearing, actually.
Need a what?
Set a hearing,
Yeah, so we set a hearing, so it's coming up pretty soon.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, I knew it was close, I didn't know exactly.
And then he'll start working on these.
And if anybody knows the families,
Yep.
talk to them, because they can do the work cheaper than we can.
Yep.
So can I just make a comment about
Yes, ma'am.
the house on the corner of, I think it's Dale and Doris that we finally got torn down?
Hmm?
Right off of Bank Street.
Right, right.
Okay. I said Dale, I meant Bank.
Use some bank, right.
Yes, Bank
right.
and Doris. We need somebody to go pass by there and see what's happening in that empty lot now.
You did already.
You did?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
I
mess.
remember it. Right on the right when you're going down Bank.
Dr. Adele
Oh.
on the corner
Yeah,
with the
it's a mess.
junkyard coming in.
Yeah, that can't happen.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
we're
I think
in-
Matt's on top of that one.
Okay,
Doris
good.
and Bank.
Doris and Bank. Mm-hmm. Remember that house was there for, Mr. Broussard would complain about it all the time?
Yep.
Yeah,
New problem, but
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a new problem.
Yeah, it was torn down with police
Yeah.
New
protection.
problem, same individual.
Yeah, we just gotta stop it before it gets out of hand.
We talked about that one.
cars are already tagged.
He's on it, and the cars are
Excellent.
tagged.
How about that furniture too? They have lawn, some lawn furniture out there too. And that's the neighbors. This is not him this time.
I took a picture of it the other day and I'm like, okay, I gotta make sure to send this to, well, I was gonna send it to Freddie and say, we gotta do something about this before it gets out of hand.
Okay, well, we got a process, so let's follow our process.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just
It's okay.
wanted to make sure.
It's okay.
Since Matt's standing there.
Next step, and Dan asked that question, but next step is send
Legal work.
letters, legal, send letters to the family members. That's the next step, Matt?
On this batch,
Yeah.
I need to do
No.
some inspection reports.
Right.
He's gonna be doing the legal
He'll run
homework.
the legal homework, see who owns it,
Right. And then we set a
if
hearing.
it's clear.
And when we bring a list to the council, the council says, okay, for this list, we're gonna have a hearing on such and such a date before the council. So we set the hearing. We have to set the hearing for the list before this, and then do the research and set the hearing for this one too. So we got one list ahead of this one, about 6.
But did we, on burn houses, particularly on burn houses, didn't we have something in the past where we got rid of burn houses faster than anything?
No, one time, just to do it, because we had so many. One time, Jimmy and I rode around town and just made a list of all the burnt houses and moved on quite a few of them all at once. And we just had like, burnt house night.
Yeah, I remember
It was just because we thought, they were really bad. I'm not saying we can't try that again, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary in our process. It was just that we decided, hey, jump in a Jeep and we're gonna do just burnt houses.
I think we just made them a priority.
So we just made them a priority. I'm not saying we can't do that again.
That's what I'm asking for.
Okay.
Ms. Ledbetter, don't you remember, it seemed like it was a couple of houses like that night, they said, we're gonna knock it down. Is my memory serving me correctly?
No, they did go through town looking for the burnt houses, and they brought them all, at that one time. It was a priority.
I'll make it a priority again, because I'm sure we got a batch of them. Anybody else? Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Parade of homes.
Madam Clerk, 5C.
Discuss the approval of the expansion of the West End Cultural District. Jane Brown.
Great. Anyone want to come up and tell us about it? This is exciting, new possibilities.
Yeah, we're very excited about this designation, the extension of our existing West End Cultural District. And you have a packet in front of you that includes a presentation that was submitted to the state. So our existing cultural district is outlined in blue, and our new expansion is in red. So what that entitles us to do, and our leaders are here, is that any commercial building within that district is entitled to, once they begin to rehab their building, they can apply for state tax credits. And the good news is that the state just increased the percentage of the tax credits. It was 25% originally, now it's 35% because we're considered a rural community. We're under 100,000. So that entitles the applicant to apply for a 60% tax credit. In addition to that, the whole premise behind Cultural District is to promote the sale of original works of art. So if an artist is housed within the district and they can sell their product, if it's listed, and it's not just arts, it's crafts, drawings, paintings, sculptures, clay, ceramics, whatever. It just has to be a one-of-a-kind, not something that's reproduced. And so they will be exempt from local taxes on the sale. Used to be they were exempt from state, but the state changed that law, and now they do have to pay a 4.45% state tax. But that is an incentive. So we're really excited about this designation and the possibility that exists for those historic structures that are within the district. And I think the committee is now going to gather and select some important structures within the district, and then we'll move forward, whether it's National Register listing, and with that designation on a structure would entitle the owners to apply for federal tax credits in addition to state tax credits and other grants that are available within the district. Any questions?
Questions, comments? I think it's a good thing.
Thank you
Opens up
so
new
much,
possibilities.
Ms. Jane. Thank you for all your hard work. We really appreciate this, and I know the people in the community really appreciate it.
I think it'll make a difference, and I'm very excited about that.
No, those tax credits are powerful. If we're gonna get some new investment, that's where it's gonna come from. And that's a good catalyst, you know? Thank you. Thanks for all your work. All right. Now we're moving on to Councilman's remarks. I'll start with Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte.
I think I'm good for tonight. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mayor, last I remember the cleanup, graveyard cleanup, cemetery cleanup is September the 4th at 8 o'clock, September 14th. I'm sorry, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday at 8 a.m. And that's at St. Matthew's Cemetery on the hill. And they're looking for volunteers. They got a good group, but they're saying they're looking for volunteers. Other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'll pass tonight.
Okay, thank you.
I passed too.
Yes, ma'am.
So, unfortunately, we just found out that the people at the federal level decided to select the same day that we selected for our political forum. So the presidential debate ends up being the same night that we actually have our local political forum in the Weston Park. So what we have decided to do is to change the date of our forum so that we can allow people to watch the presidential debate. And we're going to move the date to September 16th at 6 o'clock at the Weston Park. So we've tried to contact all the candidates. We have a few of you who have not responded yet. We do need to know that you can be there. We didn't want to make the announcement until we got that confirmation from everyone, but it's Tuesday, so we really need to kind of get the word out that we're going to change the date so people can watch the other debate, because we know that's important to everyone as well. And we really want people to be focused on the local elections, so we don't want them to be thinking about the presidential debate when we really want them to hear from the candidates that are really going to affect their everyday lives, because although the presidential election is a big deal and everything, it's your local elections that really affect your day-to-day life. So it's very important that you pay attention to who's getting elected locally.
What time on the 16th?
6 o'clock.
6. Thank you.
6 to 9.
Thank
And we're gonna be publishing the schedule, so if you only wanna come for the districts, or you wanna come for the assessor, or you wanna come for the mayor pro tem, we'll have kind of estimated times of when they're gonna start their section of it, because it's all happening in one night.
Thank you. Dan?
I know we got a meeting the 17th, but I think I heard that the early voting starts the 18th.
It starts the 18th.
The 18th, early voting? Is that correct? September 18th?
October.
Yeah.
October.
October 18th?
October 18th.
Yeah.
Okay, the elderly people, they can still, is it too late? Do you know if they can get their early voting now?
I don't know.
You don't
No, I
know?
don't know.
You talking about the mail-in
Yeah.
ballot? I think they can still get
They
it.
can still get it?
Yeah.
A couple people asked me, they thought they could, but I didn't know.
Yeah,
I
I
just
think,
wondered if you knew.
I think it's what's the last day to register is like October, it's October 5th or 6th, something like that. I think they still have time. If
Okay.
they go in there, they should be able to get one, or
If
sign
not,
up
someone
for
can
it.
get it for them.
Yeah, they just need to sign
Okay.
up for it,
Right,
yeah.
okay, thank you.
I don't know about somebody getting it for
But they can sign up and it'll get mailed to them.
Yeah,
They
that's
just-
what I
if they
mean. That's what I
call-
mean.
yeah.
It's mailing it to them. They got
Yeah.
sick and they don't think they can make it. So
Yeah.
I think you can still.
Yeah, if they call and talk to the people in there,
Yeah.
they should be able to mail them one.
Okay.
Thank you. I just have one announcement. David Broussard has some, he couldn't be here tonight. He has some plaques going up in Bully Plaza. And both Edwin Broussard and Robert Broussard were both U.S. senators. That's his relatives. He's worked and championed really hard to get 2 plaques that document all the things that they did when they were in Washington. Edwin was a Rough Rider with Teddy Roosevelt. There's pictures of Teddy Roosevelt here in New Iberia because he came to check him out on that famous run in Cuba. So anyway, both of these men did a lot for our community at the turn of the century, up until the teens, I'd say. So on September the 11th at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:30? 10:45. We have a plaque. We'll be cutting the ribbon on those 2 plaques. And those 2 plaques it's not a very good picture, but they look something like this, and that's important because we are working, we had selected these same style plaques to do all over town. That's gonna be when we can't get a state marker, but we have a really interesting story of something that makes our community unique, something that Broussard and Youngsville don't have, okay? So what we wanna do is use these plaques and put it out there. So we have them coming for leaders in the West End community. We have them coming for anybody that, you know, has a story, any history that makes our community unique. They're not that expensive. I think we can continue to spring for them. These are the first two that go up, but I'm just putting it out there because to educate our kids, you know, to educate our own citizens on our history, I think these plaques will be good. Once we have enough of them out, we'll do a little walking tour or driving map that kind of connects the dots. But then we have a lot of really, you know, our communities from 1779. We got a lot of stories that we have not documented that I think will go a long way to educate ourselves, our children, as well as provide visitors with, you know, that experience to understand where we came from. So that's September the 11th. Our next meeting is on September 17th because we moved it. And with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you.
We're gonna remember that.